Nicco Montano, the former UFC flyweight champion, was said to be enraged, claiming that she had never agreed to appear naked in a documentary film that revealed her body. Montano revealed that she signed on to appear in the documentary despite not having seen it yet. Today, we'll be talking about the documentary itself and how the former champ expressed her emotions after being humiliated in front of many fans and family. So, stay tuned. Firstly, let's talk about the controversial documentary. The 32-year-old Montano, a proud Navajo descendant, saw her 4-year, 2-fight winning streak come to an end in August. Montano had a documentary named Warrior Spirit, intended to be published the same month as her planned bout with Wu Yan'an. Montano revealed on SiriusXM's MMA segment that there is a sequence in the movie where she is seen in an exposed manner that she did not consent to. She alleges Landon Dyksterhouse, the film's creator, responded by informing her she wasn't depicted in such a manner. Nicco Montano is a mixed martial artist from the United States who most recently participated in the UFC's flyweight division. She was the first woman to win the UFC's women's flyweight championship. Montano, who hasn't seen the film, said she agreed to participate in the documentary but didn't give her explicit approval to her naked body being revealed. Montano went on to say that she still doesn't want to be exposed to the public because she isn't collecting any royalties or kickbacks from the film, like absolutely nothing. Next, the documentary from start to finish. The film chronicles her arduous weight loss in preparation for a title defense battle against Valentina Shevchenko in 2018, which was canceled when she failed to make weight. The UFC stripped her of her title as a result of missing the fight. The documentary shows her dropping a towel and standing naked on a scale. Nicco appears to have everything in the beginning of the film: her belt, her health, and herself at her finest. It's one of the reasons why so many Native Americans look up to her. The arc of the plot is that she is left with nothing at the end of the film. She's been stripped down to her underwear, her physique, and everything she's accomplished in the UFC. As a result, it is unquestionably a component of the story's arc. According to the film's director, Landon Dyksterhouse, not a single programmer in all the festivals they play, whether Native American or in New York City or anywhere else, has mentioned anything to the effect that it's exploitive or that it's sexual in nature. He claimed that the naked footage was necessary to the story of Montano's loss of everything and that it was neither exploitive nor obscene. Since losing to Juliana Pena at UFC Fight Night 155 in 2019, Montano, 32, hasn't fought. From being declared the inaugural UFC Women's Flyweight Champion to being released from the organization in August after missing weight for a scheduled fight with Wu Yan'an, Warrior Spirit captures the highs and lows of Montano's MMA career. Montano had missed weight for the 3rd time. The controversial naked scene depicts her harrowing weight loss ahead of her title defense against Valentina Shevchenko in 2018. Montano was hospitalized owing to the weight-cutting implications of the fight, and her UFC's women's flyweight title was removed as a result. She later spoke to the media, informing them she's still training in the hopes of fighting again, referencing Bellator and the Professional Fighter League in the process. Did she take the whole exploitation personally? Montano confronted her producer, who also happens to be her lawyer, and demanded to know why this scene was included in the show. She'd been receiving a lot of backlash and still hasn't been able to see the video. Nicco Montano told SiriusXM that she didn't want to be a part of the film after she knew it was going in that direction, because the production crew was being secretive about it, even though she was nearing the conclusion of her job with the UFC. Montano recently appeared on The Fighter vs. the Writer, where she voiced her displeasure with the scene being included in the movie despite her desires. Montano didn't appreciate any nuance in the documentary, despite the fact that she hasn't had the opportunity to see it yet. She claimed it had nothing to do with her career, and after becoming the first Native American to win a UFC championship. She goes on to add that she heard it's a terrific documentary that's receiving awards and whatnot, but the fact that it speaks about Native Americans being used in the whole genocide with the government, as well as how UFC athletes are exploited by the UFC, is enough for her. It's just hypocritical of them to claim all this when she's clearly being used here. Now let's look into some other UFC news. Firstly, is Conor McGregor set to make a return? Conor McGregor's combat sport career has had its worst year yet in 2021. McGregor was knocked out for the first time in MMA when he lost to Dustin Poirier at UFC 257 in January. McGregor then lost the rematch 6 months later after snapping his shin in half. Since then, he has been recuperating from his injuries, and by all accounts, his recuperation has gone quite well, indicating that McGregor's head coach John Kavanagh believes things are on track for 2022. Next up, Kavanagh still has hope for McGregor. In the next couple of weeks, he'll be back on the mats with me, Kavanagh told Submission Radio. He's currently doing a lot of strength training and, based on recent photos, appears to be more jacked than ever before. It's possible that he'll return as a middleweight, according to rumors. Kavanagh goes on to say that he'll be back on the mats with him soon, and they'll resume combat sports training. He's really eager, optimistic, and excited to attack 2022, according to his trainer. But who will he face? With McGregor certain to return in 2022, the question of who he will face is unavoidable. Rafael Dos Anjos, Michael Chandler, and even the present trilogy fight with Nate Diaz have all been mentioned as prospective opponents. However, in recent weeks, one fighter, former featherweight champion Max Holloway, appears to have built a solid case for facing McGregor next. Holloway stated repeatedly before his bout against Yair Rodriguez earlier this month that the rematch with McGregor was a distinct possibility. The two first fought in 2013, with McGregor winning by unanimous decision, and Kavanagh believes it would be a decent bout to refight if they didn't have to go through the grueling weight cuts they had to go through in the first fight. Holloway, on the other hand, may not be ready for such a bout because he is preparing for a trilogy fight with featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski. That's good with McGregor, who believes he'll be fighting for the lightweight belt in his comeback fight. The truth of McGregor's assertion remains to be seen, especially given how crowded the lightweight division is with contenders. But even if he doesn't immediately immediately challenge for the title, Kavanaugh believes McGregor will return against a strong opponent, when champion Charles Oliveira defends his lightweight title against Dustin Poirier at UFC 269 next month. The lightweight title will be on the line. Poirier and UFC President Dana White have expressed interest in a fourth fight with McGregor if he wins. Lastly, Jake Paul thinks Tommy Fury is going to be an easy win. Despite the fact that Tommy Fury is the first legitimate boxer Jake Paul will face, he does not consider him to be his toughest opponent. Since putting on the gloves, YouTube sensation turned pro boxer, Paul has won 4 fights, defeating YouTuber Enes Gibb, former NBA player Nate Robinson, former Bellator and one championship title holder Ben Askren, and former UFC welterweight champion Tyree Woodley. He fights Fury in an 8-round, 192-pound catchweight match on December 18th at O'Malley Arena. And despite Fury's 7 pro boxing victories, he believes that the unbeaten Brit has never been adequately tested. Paul remarked that this is a much easier fight than Tyrone during a press conference in the United Kingdom prior to the fight, calling Fury a young boy who has never fought in a real battle. He claimed that Fury lacks a chin and he's going to knock him out, adding that he's never been hit really hard by anyone. Paul thinks that these individuals think they're going to come in and beat him because they've had amateur careers or are professionals, but they have no idea what they're getting themselves into. It's funny to see Paul be so cocky like McGregor used to be, and yet we all know that he was all talk in the end. Let's just hope things are different for Paul and the exact same thing doesn't happen to him. Tommy Fury, the 22-year-old half-brother of heavyweight champion Tyson Fury, believes Paul took on too much by agreeing to fight someone who has committed their lives to boxing. He believes that if Paul's bouts aren't rigged, he won't be able to win. He goes on to say that he himself might not be a UFC fighter, a YouTuber, or a basketball player, but he's been doing this his entire life, and threatens Paul that on December 18th, he'll have a funny look at the team surrounding him since they've gotten him into a lot of problems. Damn, now that's a threat!